If you're one of the millions of people suffering from plantar fasciitis, you may have heard about Night Splints as a treatment option. These specialized braces work by stretching the Achilles tendon and the plantar fascia, and they aim to help you alleviate that morning heel pain. But here's the question you may be asking. Do they actually work? Or is it just a waste of your precious time and your hard-earned money? In this video, I'm going to take a deep dive into the pros and cons of using a night splint as a tool to help you get rid of your plantar fasciitis. I'm going to talk about the different types of night splints and the advantages and disadvantages of each type. I'm also going to show you how to properly use your night splint to get the most benefit. Now, finally, at the end of the video, I'm going to give you some really important tips on how to effectively use a night splint, even if you've tried it before and you quit because you couldn't fall asleep when using that night splint. Hi, I'm Dr. Saller. I'm a board-certified orthopedic foot and ankle surgeon. So let's get into it. What is a night splint? Well, night splint's a type of brace. Holds your foot in a position that stretches your calf muscles while you sleep. The theory behind a night splint is this. When we sleep, our muscles in our leg relax and our foot is in a position of full plantar flexion. This means that the foot and the toes are pointed downward away from the rest of your body. When your foot is in this position, it relaxes those muscles of your calf as well as the plantar fascia. If you've ever had plantar fasciitis, you know you already have microscopic tears at the bottom of your plantar fascia, which are causing your pain. When your foot is in this relaxed position overnight, that fascia is going to shorten. Then when you get out of bed and take those first few steps, you're going to experience pain at the bottom of your heel because that plantar fascia is now very tight and it's going to start tearing at a microscopic level, which leads to that pain. If you keep those calf muscles in your plantar fascia under a gentle stretch while you sleep, you're going to allow this tissue to start to heal in that stretch position. That means when you get out of bed, you're not going to experience that severe pain like you did before. Now, is there any scientific research that supports that night splints actually work? Well, actually, yes, there is. There's a number of studies that show that it's effective, especially in the short term. But here's the catch. Night splints work best as an adjunct to other treatment options, including stretching and strengthening exercises and appropriate footwear. To find out more about exercises that you need to be doing if you have plantar fasciitis, check out this video. So maybe I've convinced you that you need a night splint or why you need a night splint, but what kind should you use? You may have gotten confused because if you pull up a search on Amazon or on Google for night splints, you're going to find hundreds of different types. And of course, they're all going to claim that their version is best. Don't worry, I'm going to break it down. I'm going to show you the different types of night splints and keep it simple. There's basically three types of night splints. First is the more traditional type of night splint. This is a brace that fits under your foot and the back of your calf and controls the ankle position from below. The advantage of this type of night splint is that they're highly effective at maintaining that position of the ankle. The big disadvantage is that these ones are often very bulky and they can be uncomfortable for a lot of people. Also, if you tend to roll around in bed, you can end up hitting your other leg with the night splint, which can wake you up and it can be uncomfortable. Now, even worse, you could bump your spouse with a night splint and wake them up. Please don't do that. An alternative to this type of night splint is a night splint that wraps around the front of your foot and your leg, like this one. This is called a dorsal night splint. This is the type of night splint that I personally use when I got plantar fasciitis. It's still very effective and it tends to be more comfortable for most people. Since it's not at the back of your leg, you're still going to feel the cushion of your bed against the back of your heel and the back of your leg, which usually is more comfortable and allows you to fall asleep. One disadvantage of this type of splint is it doesn't provide as much stretch through your toes. However, what I found is the indirect stretch of stretching your plantar fascia through stretching the gastrocnemius complex is usually enough to be effective. And here's a really important thing. The most effective night splint is the one that you actually use. It's better to have a night splint that's more comfortable and it doesn't provide as much stretch than one you hate and you end up not using it. Now, there's a third design that's come up more recently that's basically a sock with a strap on it. Now, some people love this and have success with this model. However, I haven't found this to be as helpful for most people. It didn't work for me, Hasn't worked for a lot of my patients. The problem with these models is the straps often slip and they're hard to control. Usually by the time you wake up, the Velcro strap has come loose and you're not getting any stretch anyway. The other thing I don't like about these is they often provide way too much stretch through the toes, which can be uncomfortable and make it really hard for you to fall asleep. So as I promised, here's some tips to help you follow through with using your night splint while still getting a good night's rest. If you've tried a night splint before and you stopped because you couldn't fall asleep, try these tips. See if you can try it one more time. So first, put the night splint on for a few hours before you go to bed in the evening when you're relaxing around the house. So if you spend any time at night reading or sitting or watching TV, Netflix, or whatever streaming service you enjoy, strap on that night splint, help you get used to it. Then keep it on when you go to bed. If it's taking you too long to fall asleep because it's uncomfortable, then just take it off. But don't give up. The next night, wear it before bed for about an hour instead of half an hour. So what are you doing here? You're gradually working up your tolerance to the point where eventually you'll be able to fall asleep with it on. Well, what if you wake up in the middle of the night because the splint is on and you have this really achy pain in your calf and you can't fall back asleep? Should you push through and try to keep the splint on until the morning? Should you just take it off? Should you completely give up? Well, here's my opinion. You need to balance the importance of a good night's rest with using the night splint to treat your plantar fasciitis. In order to heal any condition in your body, you need good night's sleep. You need rest. So I personally recommend removing that night splint if it wakes you up in the middle of the night. However, don't give up. You want to wear it the next day and then keep wearing it every night thereafter. But then if it wakes you up in the middle of the night, take it off. What you're going to find is you're likely going to wake up later and later in the night. Eventually, you'll be able to wear the splint for the entire night. Now, this is actually what happened to me when I wore a night splint in 2020 as part of my treatment program for plantar fasciitis. After about 4 to 5 days, I was able to tolerate the night splint all night long, and I was waking up at my normal time in the morning when my alarm went off. Now, my calf was pretty sore when I woke up, but as soon as I took the splint off, my soreness in my calf started to go away. What I noticed is as soon as I got out of bed, that painful stabbing pain at the heel was now gone. That's when I knew the night splint had been a success. Now, it's much easier to keep using it once you're experiencing success, but it takes a little while to get to that point. So another thing I've learned over the years is that there isn't one product that really works for everyone. Everyone has sort of different things that work for them. So I want to hear from you. If you've ever had a night splint, what type did you like or what type didn't you like? Let me know in the comments. Did the night splint help get rid of your plantar fasciitis or did other things help more? Let's hear it in the comments. So the great thing about a night splint is once you get better, you can stop using it. It's pretty clear in the research that there's not really a long-term benefit beyond 12 months. So once you get better, get rid of it. But you still want to really focus on those strengthening exercises of those intrinsic muscles in your foot. You want to focus on some gentle calf and plantar fascial stretching. And that's something you might want to continue to do so you don't get plantar fasciitis later on.